Day 4, SEC Media Days with Caleb Calhoun and Caleb Jarreau. I am Dave Hooker, and this means Tennessee and some guy named Lane from Oxford, Mississippi. That's what Day 4 means, so make sure you've got those notifications on. You've subscribed and liked because we've got a ton coming up throughout the rest of the day and a big show on Friday with several special guests that we're looking forward to, including a preview of Florida and more. We'll also visit with several of the media personalities there at SEC Media Days in Nashville, Tennessee. Let's talk a little bit about some feedback that we got from some teams that have been at SEC Media Days. In particular, I want to talk about the SEC East with Caleb Jarreau, who has had the print room absolutely manned. They call it the main room now because nobody prints anymore. But Kentucky's saying what?
Yeah, so several Kentucky players, when I asked about last year's Tennessee game, said that they just weren't mentally focused going into Neyland Stadium. So they said that the rough season, Will Levis was dealing with some injury. It kind of all weighed on the team, and it caused them to lack mental focus. But on the flip side of that, they made sure to say that this season will be different. They'll be ready this year. When Tennessee goes to Lexington, it's almost like they're going for that revenge game.
What do you make of that, Calhoun? Is that good to have an excuse, or is it dumb to say that?
I think it's dumb to say that, not because it's going to fire Tennessee up or anything like that. I think Tennessee dominates Kentucky anyway, but I think that does anybody who watched that game really believe that a lack of focus cost Kentucky in that one? I mean, that's a really hilarious thing to say.
You know, actually, I did think they lacked a little bit of focus. I just thought the whole season, because of Will Levis injuries, Will Levis poor play, I thought they were ready for the season to be over.
Yeah, but if anybody had a reason to not focus that game, it would have been Tennessee because Georgia was the next week.
Well, I mean, I'm not making excuses for them. Whether it's focus or listless, whatever word you want to use, it was something. I mean, I think we all can agree that they didn't play their best game. Is that fair to say?
I mean,
whatever the excuse is,
I think Tennessee made them. I'm not one of those people who says people play sloppy all the time, but I think Tennessee made Kentucky not play their best game in that one.
You can blame Will Levis injuries. That may have caused them to lose focus. He only threw for 98 yards that game, but the defense did not help them in any way in that game either. Hendon Hooker had his way. I think 3 touchdown passes that game, over 300 yards. So Will Levis play, yes, it contributed. They didn't score, but they still gave up 40, 50 points to Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm not downplaying the way Tennessee played, don't get me wrong. But do I think if that game were played 10 more times, I think that Kentucky, surely to goodness, if their lives depended on it, would play better. I mean, they looked like they were – mailing it in isn't the right word, but they looked like they were pretty much done. And a lot of people, including Chris Lowe, who said early in the program, thinks that Kentucky could be a bounce-back team. We'll see. Zen Sports is the new sports book in Tennessee, revolutionizing the way you earn sports betting rewards. That means no more deposit bonuses that turn into deposit nightmares. On Zen Sports, what you see is what you get. And with their cash rewards program, you get a lot of cash. For a welcome bonus, earn an unlimited 5% cash back on your betting volume for your first 15 days when you sign up with code HOOK. That's the promo code HOOK. That's right, unlimited 5% cash back. Keep betting. Keep earning with up to 3% cash back on your betting volume every month after that, and refer friends to earn a percentage of their betting volume as cash rewards as well. Zen Sports bringing the cash back to Tennessee. So if you bet big on sports, you want to be betting on Zen Sports. Zen Sports betting just got better. Let me ask you, Caleb Calhoun, the one thing that stood out about your first SEC Media Days, somewhat embarrassed to say, I think this is 25 for me, and then I'll get to you, Jarreau. But the first thing that stood out to you, or the most prominent thing, is as we look back over the week. That doesn't mean we won't have more coverage on Friday. Several interviews didn't make the cut of our first 4 days. But your thoughts, what do you take away from SEC Media Days?
Nashville's got to update their infrastructure, man. They're building way too fast, and it was way too hard to get to the Grand Hyatt for an event.
That's fair. Jarreau, what do you take away?
He did take mine. I was going to say maybe not schedule the concert outside in the evening in Nashville with the weather. Last night, the Midland concert got rained out. Fan Fest. I'm sure Tennessee fans who were in Nashville were looking forward to that. That got rained out as well. SEC Nation had to move inside. So I feel like maybe the SEC needs to learn how to control the weather and make next year a little better.
Yeah, based off some early mornings, I think some SEC media members need to maybe learn how to control their consumption of alcohol the night before. It was a rough couple of mornings for some of the media members. I did notice that. No one here, but a couple were struggling early in the morning. So, a Friday, just a monstrous show as well. We'll have a ton of interviews from SEC Media Days. We certainly thank everyone that made it possible for us to be here in Nashville, and it'll be Dallas next time. But I tell you what, it's been quite the week. SEC Media Days. Yes, Caleb Calhoun, what were you saying?
Oh no, I was going to say that before we get out of here, Jarreau wanted to bring up something I saw about Florida and Neyland Stadium and the swamp and what was said.
Yeah, so Florida wide receiver Rickey Pearsall told a little story today during his breakout session. He said when he came out of the huddle for the first play at Neyland Stadium, he just busted out laughing. He just couldn't hold it in. He had no idea that Neyland Stadium would be that loud. He said it compared to the swamp, but make sure to note that nothing is better than the swamp, but that Tennessee fans caught him completely off guard with the noise that night. Because if you think about it, a lot of these players haven't played in Neyland in full capacity because it was in the swamp in 21, and then 20, it was 50% capacity. So it's a very quiet stadium.
It's a great point. We'll see if Tennessee can enjoy that home crowd environment against Georgia. I think Chris Lowe brought up a great point. He said he thought that Tennessee needed to beat one of the big three last year for the 2022 season to be considered a success. That's Florida, Alabama, and Georgia. They beat two of those. If they do so again this year, that would be incredible. If they can beat all three, probably playing for a national title.